a little bit about us. Westworld Touring our 20th anniversary last year. We offer quality components to all tours, including modern, comfortable coaches, professional tour directors, experienced, courteous drivers, baggage handling, and excellent accommodations. Our tours include all the sites and attractions important to our clients. We also provide several meals throughout the tour. Thousands of passengers have chosen Westworld Tour's first-class style of motor coach touring, enjoying the great value, security, and stress-free environment, all while making new friendships along the way. We receive a high level of satisfaction from our passenger surveys, and I know our tour directors love seeing familiar faces on tours. So with today's world changing, Westworld Tours remains committed to traveler safety and providing peace of mind while traveling. While COVID-19 continues to change our environment, we are doing all that we can to adapt to the new requirements and expectations. We've introduced enhanced health and safety protocols to keep our guests safe while traveling with us. The well-being of our travelers and our team have always been and always will be our primary concern. As some of you already know, we are proud to have provided full refunds to all of our travelers on canceled tours. After all, it is your money. You should decide when and where you want to travel, not us. And you can refer to our website for the most up-to-date COVID-19 travel policies. So we have a great lineup coming for the rest of the month. And on September 8th, you can join us for our Southern Charm. It's a new tour that we're offering that travels down through the Carolinas into Georgia and Florida. So that's an exciting new tour we have. Another new one is our Branson Quilters. That one you can join us on September 15th and hear about our quilting tour. And September 22nd is one of our classics, the Newfoundland and Labrador tour. And we hope you can join us for that. And so let us know what future destinations you would like to travel to. You can enter your suggestions into the Q&A box. And if you've joined us from Facebook, you can enter them into the comment section. Or you can always send us an email. We love hearing from you, and it helps us with future tour planning. Now let's get on to our Amish tour. So if you are looking for a completely authentic Amish experience, join us as we explore the oldest Amish community in the world, travel through the beautiful rolling fields of the Amish countryside, and discover the rich history and heritage of the Amish. Visit iconic attractions and museums along the way. Enjoy a cruise on the Upper Dells in Wisconsin, the city, Hershey, Pennsylvania, and escape the trappings of modern day by joining us on this blast from the past tour through the heart of Amish country and more. So this tour is running next year, May 16th to the 31st. And now I am pleased to introduce you to Koral Romanchuk. Koral has been with Westworld Tours for over 20 years, having traveled the globe extensively, setting foot on all 7 continents, and bringing to her role as Senior Tour Director a wealth of knowledge and experience. Welcome, Koral.
Hi. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening, and so excited to be telling you about the Amish Tour tonight. All right, we're going to go ahead and begin talking about the tour, everyone. Again, a big thank you to each and every one of you for joining us this evening. It's so nice to be back at the virtual presentations again. It feels like it's been a while. 2019 was our maiden voyage, you could say, with our Amish Country tour, and it was absolutely fantastic. Got some great pictures, had a really lovely group. We had a fantastic time exploring Amish Country down in Pennsylvania and Ohio, and we're so excited to be doing this tour again in 2022. So we made a few little changes to the tour. That's how you learn, right? You take the first trip and passengers tell us their feedback, things that they would like to see included. And so we're really excited about what we have coming up for 2022 in the month of May for our Amish Country tour. Well, what you're looking at on the first screen here, everyone, is a map of our itinerary. And I'm sure there's some of you listening out there this evening that are just like me and that you really love a good motor coach tour. That's one of the things I was thinking about today as I was preparing for our presentation tonight, just about how much I love a good motor coach tour. And I know some of you must feel that way as well, too. And this is a fantastic one for you. We go down through Winnipeg, making our way down through Minneapolis, Minnesota. We'll have a really nice welcome dinner there, and then making our way down through the lovely state of Wisconsin, through the Wisconsin Dells, and then gradually making our way down to the states of Pennsylvania and Ohio, which is really prime Amish country. And then we'll be seeing some pretty special attractions coming back through Frankenmuth, Michigan, and then making our way back up through Grand Rapids, Minnesota, on our way back up towards Winnipeg again. So that's just a little look at the itinerary and the map. All right, let's move on to the next slide. There we go. Perfect. On this screen, everyone, you can just see the highlights of the tour. So you can look over those quickly. Yeah, a lot of really great attractions included in the tour. And like Leanne was saying, a really thorough job of Amish country. So we get to see a lot of really great attractions and learn a lot about the Amish culture as well. So yeah, 16 days, really just a nice length and beautiful time of the year in the month of May. There we go. Okay, so for our first slide, talking about our tour, everyone, in the center on the bottom of your screen, a shot of Minneapolis. As I was saying, we'll be overnighting in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's the second day of the tour. We'll really kind of kick things off that day with a nice welcome dinner that night before we make our way into the state of Wisconsin. And all the photos that you're seeing around on the left and the top and the right on this screen are all photos of our stay in Wisconsin. Let's start with the top right-hand corner. I always say no trip to Wisconsin is complete without a chance to buy some Wisconsin cheese, and it is fantastic. I love the Mouse House. It's called the Mouse House Cheese House. It's in a nice little town called Windsor, Wisconsin. Of course, there's lots of different places to buy cheese, but this place has always been really good to us. We walk in the door and they have the samples at the ready. So yeah, you want to go hungry so that you can have some nice cheese samples and decide what you want to buy. So it's fantastic. Not only cheeses, but fudge and sausage, all kinds of yummy things to buy there. The other shots that you're seeing on the screen, everyone, is in a place called the Wisconsin Dells. And the Wisconsin Dells first gained prominence in the Midwestern US back in the 1850s. And the reason that happened was because there was a man named H.H. Bennett, and he was known locally as the man with the camera. So this was back in the 1850s, but back at that time already, he was a fantastic photographer. And he was taking amazing pictures of some of the incredible rock formations in the Wisconsin Dells, where the river had carved the sandstone into strange and amazing formations. And we still see that today in 2022. In the lower right-hand corner, you can see the boat, which is exactly like what we take on our river cruise. So it's a 2-hour river cruise. It's absolutely lovely. And on a beautiful day, like it's pictured in the photo, everybody will be up on top of the deck, but of course there's a lower covered area. And yeah, we'll be just meandering our way through the rock formations. But it was actually back in the late 1800s when they first began taking visitors on rowboat tours through the Wisconsin Dells. So that's how it all began, but it was a little bit different back then. The story goes that back in those days, guests on the tour actually had to row, and they paid for the privilege of rowing as well too. But the photo in the top center and on the left-hand side, that's one of the ladies who was with me back in 2019 posing for a photo. That's in an area called the Witch's Gulch, and it's absolutely incredible. Maybe you can see that a little bit just in the two photos there. Our 2-hour river cruise includes 2 landings where we're actually on shore walking through these amazing rock formations. So probably about 15-20 minutes in each of the stops, but I can't begin to say how lovely it is and what a fun boat tour it is. Every time I've ever been there on various tours with Westworld, the groups have always had a great time. And then moving on, we make our way into the Keystone State, because that's the nickname of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is actually a really pretty state as well, too. And one of the things it's known for is Hershey, Pennsylvania. And Hershey, Pennsylvania has a nickname. It's called the sweetest place on earth. And of course, Hershey, Pennsylvania is home of the Hershey Chocolate Museum and Hershey World as well, too. Well, it's quite funny. Before I went to Hershey for the first time, I'd heard that the whole place smells like chocolate. And it actually does. I remember we checked into our hotel that year in Hershey, and I thought, oh, this can't be natural. The hallways smell like chocolate. I'm sure they're piping it in here, but yeah, it's a pretty special place. And the story goes that Milton Hershey, who started the whole thing, back in 1872, he finished grade 4, and his family decided it was time to send him out to work once he finished grade 4. So the first thing he did was apprentice with a printer, but he hated it. And so the next thing he did was he went to work for a local confectioner in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And that's where it all started, with his love of chocolate and his work as a confectioner. In 1893, Chicago had the World's Exposition, and Milton Hershey was so impressed with the German chocolate exhibition there that when the exhibition was over, he bought all of their equipment, and you could say that the rest was history. So that's how it all started. On the bottom center there, you see the trolley, and that is exactly the trolley tour that we do. It's a lot of fun. So we have a chance to tour the museum and also Hershey World itself too. Well, we're waiting for the, there we go. I was going to say we're waiting for the screen to change. Another nice thing about Milton Hershey that I thought was very respectable is Milton Hershey believed that happy employees make for a successful company. And so he was definitely well known for being a very good man. And not only that, creating a lovely area with beautiful brick homes and nice lawns and play areas for the kids of the families who work for the company. So really and truly, that did contribute to the success of Hershey, Pennsylvania, and of the Hershey chocolate empire. So just a few shots here of the Hershey Story Museum. On the left-hand side, I'd asked Cindy to include that picture because I thought it was pretty fun that all the street lights in Hershey, Pennsylvania are chocolate kisses. So not only does the town smell like chocolate, but the street lights are all chocolate kisses. It was, of course, Milton Hershey who came up with chocolate kisses. And let me tell you, if you come on this tour with us, it seems like people are trying to feed you another chocolate kiss at every turn. My goodness, we just ate chocolate almost the entire day. So just be prepared for that. I came home with a lot of bags of chocolate kisses. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So that is Hershey, Pennsylvania. And then bottom right-hand screen, you see Bird in Hand, because that is our next destination. So when we leave Hershey, we are making our way to Bird in Hand, which is very close to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Perfect. And this takes us into Amish country, everyone. So Lancaster, Pennsylvania is really known as Amish country. Well, I want to tell you a little bit about the Amish people as we look at some of these pictures tonight. It is a fascinating culture, and I know this is really a sought after destination for a lot of our clients and our passengers with Westworld. And we're really, really happy that we are finally doing an Amish country tour. There's a lot I didn't know about the Amish people before I first did this tour for Westworld. I didn't know, for one thing, that it's not only Pennsylvania but also Ohio too that has a very high number of Amish people. As for the history of the Amish people, well, it all goes back to a gentleman named Jacob Ammon, and the movement began back in 1893. So with Jacob Ammon, that specifically movement began in Switzerland, and then specifically the Amish were kind of divided, I guess you could say, into two distinct, sects, maybe for lack of a better word at that point: the Amish Mennonites and the Old Order Amish. And the Old Order Amish is a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. I also didn't realize in this day and age just how many different sects there are of the Amish people. We're going to talk in a short while here about the extremely traditional Amish, and then you have your Mennonite Amish who actually drive modern cars, and everything in between. So it's really quite diverse. But the Amish are known as Pennsylvania German. Their language, besides English, they speak Pennsylvania German, or it is also more commonly called Pennsylvania Dutch as well too. They are known, I suppose we all know this, but they're known for simple living. They're known for their rural life. They're known for humility. They're known for manual labor. They practice non-resistance, so they will not be a part of military as well too. That's another thing specific about them. But in the early 18th century, that's when many Amish began to emigrate to North America. So that was the 18th century. Looking at these pictures specifically in this photo, everyone, these are actually all my pictures from our last tour there in 2019. The one on the right, I just thought was funny. It was just one of our stops on our Amish farmlands tour, which is a fantastic tour that we do during our stay in Lancaster. And just some of the livestock who had figured out the treat machine where visitors could put in a quarter and get some treats out for the livestock. They just hadn't quite figured out how to make it work, but they certainly knew where the treats were coming from. So on the bottom pictures there, let's go down to the bottom of the screen here. We're looking at an Amish home with the clothes on the line. And then we're looking at an Amish school in the center lower picture as well. That's actually a school. We will talk as well about how difficult it is to take pictures of the Amish. And that's why in the presentation tonight, you're not actually going to see a lot of pictures of the actual Amish themselves. But the Amish are known for the 5 Bs. And this is one thing you'll learn when you visit Pennsylvania and Ohio. And now those 5 Bs are, let me see if I can do this without out peeking. It is bonnets, beards, barefoot, buggies, and bench wagons. There we go. So that's something you'll have to learn for fun on the Amish tour. All right, let's start with bench wagons. If you're wondering what a bench wagon is, it's actually a little bit difficult to see, I'm afraid, but I realize we actually do have a picture of a bench wagon. On the bottom left-hand corner, if you see where the clothes are hanging on the line and you look behind that tree, just on the right of that little thumbnail picture, there's a gray wagon behind it, and that is a bench wagon. If you're wondering what the heck that means, well, here's how church works for the Amish people. It's like a traveling church, and they hold it every second week. They don't have a church building per se. Instead, they have a bench wagon. And so your specific church district that you belong to, you'll probably have your turn to host church a couple times a year. And that bench wagon will go around to the different homes. Now, in the back of the bench wagon are all these neatly numbered and perfectly labeled benches, which then all get set up for church. And your altar, your hymnals, everything else is all tucked tucked away neatly in that bench wagon. Beards, well, that one goes without saying, I think, but did you know, and maybe you've realized this by now, that Amish men do not have mustaches, only beards. They can cut their hair before they're married, but not afterwards, and certainly not their beards. Women do not cut their hair barefoot. That one goes without saying, I think. Buggies, you'll see some photos of those coming up. And how about bonnets? So check out that picture in the top left-hand corner of your screen before we move on to the next slide, everyone. You see those dolls. Those are Amish dolls, and you can buy those, of course. Those are in one of the stores we visit. It's a couple of our ladies in the center there shopping, but you will not see Amish dolls with faces. They will be in traditional Amish dress, of course, with fabric clothing and fabric heads, but no faces. And the reason is the Amish believe that, of course, only God can create a human, and therefore it's considered inappropriate and disrespectful to even go so far as to recreate a human face. And that's why all the dolls are faceless. So it seems a bit odd, but I get it. That's why they do it. So there we go. That's just some fun facts for you about the Amish people. Moving on to the next slide. This is in Lancaster as well. This is another one of our attractions that we get to do. Now, some of you who are joining us tonight, I'm sure, have been to Branson, Missouri, another really popular tour for us at Westworld, and you've probably been to the Sight and Sound Theater. I was also thinking today about how you even begin to describe the Sight and Sound Theater, and it's really difficult to explain it. I could say that you are immersed in the show, but even that doesn't do it justice, really. It is really and truly like being in the middle of the production. And they are all based on biblical stories, everything from Jesus to Jonah. There's a Christmas story and many, many others as well, too. The newest one is David, and this should be pretty spectacular. I can't wait to see what Goliath looks like. Just as an example, the Jonah show, literally that whale passes right over your heads at one point. So it is beyond immersive. It is truly incredible, but that is a Sight and Sound Theater. And the original one is in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So the second one is in Branson, Missouri. So we'll be taking in the David show one evening as well. All right. I'm happy to tell you that we have more free time in the tour. We actually added in, Westworld added in an extra day to the tour from what we had the first time we did this tour. As I was saying earlier, sometimes we learn just based on guest feedback, and that's really important to us. Your feedback. One thing we learned is that we should have more free time, and so now we do. So we have a free day during our stay in Bird in Hand, which is just outside of Lancaster, and these are some of the various attractions in the area. That meeting house in the top right-hand corner from some of the first pioneers in the area actually dates to the late 1700s. If memory serves me right, I believe it was 1793 or so. So the oldest standing structure from the Mennonites in the Lancaster area. The little village in the center right-hand screen, fun to wander through and shop. That's in Bird in Hand, bottom right-hand corner in Lancaster, the Amish shopping area. Of course, the Amish village with one of the traditional buggies in the top left-hand side of the screen. And speaking of buggies, this very likely might be something that I to do during your stay in Lancaster. And what a cool thing to do is actually take a horse and buggy ride. As I was saying, there are some Amish Mennonite who drive modern cars, but the old world Mennonite, they actually drive traditional horse and buggies. They are considered vehicles. They do go on roads, and that's why they are nowadays outfitted with turn signals and headlights. They are required to have that. Okay, and going on to our next screen. All right, we'll come back to the Amish and talk just a little bit more about it before we finish our presentation tonight, everyone. But we are making our way into Ohio because we are going to learn more about the Amish people during our stay in Ohio, in Sugar Creek. But on our way to Sugar Creek, we're stopping in a town called Dover, Ohio. And here's something else I learned, and maybe for many of you listening out there this evening, if you've never been to that area, you've probably never heard of a man named Ernest Warther. His nickname was Mooney Warther, and he passed away in back in 1973. So he was actually born in the late 1800s. Ernest Warther was a genius and an artist and a carver, and his family have worked hard to just to preserve his traditions of carving. One of his great passions was carving steam locomotives, and in the top left-hand corner of the screen, that's actually my own picture of one of his steam locomotives. And if you're wondering what the heck it's made from, it's actually white. It is carved in ivory. You see the picture of Ernest Warther carving there on the right-hand side. Well, it might be pretty difficult to get ivory to carve from nowadays, but this is a different time in history, of course. And at that time, he was able to obtain ivory, and he loved carving in it. His three mediums for carving were actually ebony, ivory, and walnut. And yeah, so we'll have a chance to tour all through his exhibits, see I can't even begin to describe it, the incredible workmanship that went in, the amazing detail to these tiny steam locomotives and everything that he did. But it all started as a young man in the late 1800s when he was taking the cows out to pasture and found a rusty old pocket knife. And for something to do, he started to whittle, and he became this great carver. Well, his wife Frida, she had to do something special too to keep up with her husband. So probably many of you listening out there tonight have a button collection. I know every now and again I love to look at my mom's button collection in her big jar, but Frida, she did something pretty unique with her buttons. In the center of the screen and the lower screen there, those are incredible geometric designs that she had made from some of her buttons. So pretty unique art as well. So that's the Ernest Warther Museum in Dover, Ohio. Okay, and what we're looking at here, everyone, is Lehman's store. This is actually a family store started back in 1955. So pretty fascinating walking around Lehman's, looking at everything from the wash tubs in the top right-hand corner to the beautiful brooms to you know, the typical Amish men's hats you're looking at over hanging on the wall on the left-hand corner of your screen, and a traditional wagon as well too. So that's just a little look at Lehman's store, and also a buggy under construction on the right-hand side. You actually get to see that. It's pretty fascinating watching a traditional Amish buggy being built. So those are just some shots from Lehman's store. All right, so we're also going to be spending some time in Amish country in the state of Ohio, as I was saying, and specifically around the Sugar Creek area. I just mentioned that I would tell you a little bit about the very traditional Amish. They are called Swartzen, so make sure I'm saying that correctly, Swartzenstuber Amish, excuse me, I still feel like I'm Swartzentruber. Let me try that one more time. There we go. I had to peek. Swartzentruber Amish. These are the most traditional of the old order Amish. And so I'd ask Cindy actually to include that picture over on the left-hand side of your screen. They are known for their extremely traditional lifestyles and for their red barns as well. And you see that dirt track leading up to the house. Well, that's all they would ever have. They would never want to have anything more than just a very simple dirt track. You will not see flowers in their yard, and you will not see like playground equipment. That I found very interesting as well. All those things are considered to be much too modern for a Swartzentruber for Amish person. I told you I'd tell you a little bit more about trying to take pictures of Amish. It is challenging because, of course, us as visitors, we want to take some pictures, but I'm sure many of you have traveled to certain destinations where you had to be very careful about taking pictures, but there were circumstances where you could just, politely say to someone, may I take your picture? And certainly there are situations where you may have the opportunity to take a picture of an Amish person. You will not have an opportunity to take a picture of a Swartz and Truber Amish. That is completely off limits to them. But, honestly, as visitors, some of the photos that we get are photos that we just quickly snap out the bus window as we're going by. And seeing a farmer with his plow and his horses out in the field, like you're seeing in the top right-hand corner of your screen, that is normal. You just see that, and that's just the way it is. Another really interesting thing about the Amish people I wanted to share with you this evening, everyone, is another word you may have never heard before called rumspringa. I may be mispronouncing it a little bit. It's Rumspringa, rumspringa. It means interpreted running around. And I would have never guessed this was a thing. With the Amish people, when they're kids, and it's typical for Amish to have at least half a dozen kids in a family, when they reach age, 16 at least, by late teens or so, they are more than welcome to leave home and go through this rumspringa phase in their life. They can go to the city, knock themselves out, whatever they want to do, take it all in, all the things that an Amish person shouldn't be doing. It's kind of getting it out of their systems, basically, I suppose you could say. And then when they're finished with that little phase in their life, they're welcome to come home. But if they make the decision they don't want to come back, they will never be welcome back again in their family or amongst the Amish people. And one thing we learned when we were there last is that most of them actually do come back again. So I found that quite interesting. All right, I'll move on to the next slide. All right, and as I was saying, we do have some free time in Sugar Creek, so get to shop for cheese again if we wish. See the amazing basket making. I brought home a fantastic basket and a great little broom. You get to see the ladies quilting and baking, of course. Sugar Creek is the home of one of the largest cuckoo clocks in the world. It's pretty spectacular. That's a lot of fun. That's what you're looking at in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Naturally, we have to take a stop there as well, so that you can see the world's largest cuckoo clock. We will actually be going to the Amish wedding feast. So we are going to have a traditional Amish dinner in a home, which is really to have a really fantastic meal. Believe me, you want to wear stretchy pants. You want to go hungry to that one too. Their pies alone are pretty epic. They are. So a lot of fun. We'll also see the Amish Mennonite Heritage Center in Sugar Creek, learn more about the culture and traditions of the Amish, not just through stories, but through an incredible cyclorama. It's a 10-foot tall, 265-foot long painting in the round in the cyclorama at the Amish Mennonite Heritage Center. So yeah, so that's just a few of the things we get to see. And let's carry on to the next slide. I think we're kind of reaching near the end of our Amish pictures here. And maybe while we do that, just one more thing about the Amish. Oh, here we go. This is a fantastic slide, actually. This is our group picture from our last trip there in Sugar Creek. One of the ladies from our group holding up a couple of those faceless dolls. And it's always fun to have your picture taken with an Amish buggy as well, too. Yeah, just one more little fun fact about the Amish before we move on to the last part of the tour. And that is the Amish people are known for their extremely healthy lifestyles, and that probably goes without saying. Very little processed food, or probably no processed food, and certainly very little alcohol as well too, but very much an organic diet. They work extremely hard. A lot of manual labor, of course, goes without saying. Low incidences of cancer, low incidences of respiratory illness, and also, of course, extremely low rates of obesity in their culture as well. So that's just some interesting facts for you, I hope, about the Amish people and our stay in both Pennsylvania and Ohio in Amish country. But the tour is not over yet. We still have a few fantastic attractions to take in on this great motor coach tour. Well, we make our way to Michigan and to Detroit, and we have a chance to tour the Henry Ford Museum, as well as the Ford Rouge factory tour as well. It's absolutely fascinating. We don't really have a lot of pictures of it here because it's quite difficult to take pictures of, but in the top right hand corner of your screen, that is actually a photo of the assembly line in the Ford Rouge factory. You can tour it. There's a couple of really, really interesting films to watch in there. You take a self-guided tour through the factory. There's lots of staff just to help out and answer questions for you. You get to visit the observation deck, and for anyone who's up to it, you can actually walk right around the platform, the viewing platform in the factory itself. Now, you can't take pictures, so that's why that is a great picture that Cindy found online, I believe, in the top right-hand corner. I don't have any pictures of that because you're not allowed to take pictures inside, but it's amazing. We watched Ford F-150s being made that day, and I couldn't take my eyes off it. It's quite a walk around the factory, but of course it's on the level, a big viewing platform looking down. And if you're willing to walk at all, you can pretty much watch a vehicle being put together from start to finish. I remember being just amazed, and also amazed watching these big robots just take a big piece of glass and putting that rear window into the back of the cab, and pretty awesome. We also tour the Henry Ford Museum in Michigan as well too. That's what you're looking at, top left-hand corner, bottom right-hand corner. And I also asked Cindy to include this picture I took in the lower left-hand corner, because this is a really special moment in history and a really pivotal moment too. That little bust you're looking at was found and lovingly restored. And if you know the name Rosa Parks, that is the bus that she rode on. And you know that moment, it was December 1st in the year 1955, when a Black lady named Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on that bus. And it's really special. You can actually sit there in that very seat on that bus where she refused to move. The white section was full. She was actually sitting in the colored section. But when more white people came onto the bus, the driver told her to move. And the other Blacks who were sitting with her all got up and moved. She moved closer to the window. That was it. And she refused to give up. And in essence, that was one of the pivotal moments starting the civil rights movement. So pretty incredible, I think, that they have Rosa Parks' bus in the Henry Ford Museum, as well as some pretty other amazing things as well. All right, just a couple more slides for you, everyone. There's so many great things on this tour. If you're thinking about joining us, I'm pretty sure you'll love it. There's so many great things that we do. We stop in a really fun little town in Michigan called Frankenmuth. And some of you listening tonight might have been there before. This is a stop on some of our maritime tour itineraries as well. I really love Frankenmuth. It was settled by Bavarians from Germany, and they came to this area of Michigan. And the town that they created there still holds its Bavarian charm today. In fact, it's become quite a popular little tour destination destination for many people. You're looking at some of the traditional Bavarian architecture, of course, the castle shops, and just fun little areas to shop in. Also, more cheese, of course, another cheese house. Never get too much of that, right? I think, anyways. The covered bridge in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. It's a really spectacular covered bridge over the Cass River. And if you look at the top right-hand corner, that's some of our group. Last time we were through Frankenmuth, just enjoying a lovely afternoon boat cruise on the Cass River. So just a lovely way to spend a nice spring afternoon and then shop and wander through Frankenmuth. And no trip to Frankenmuth would really be complete without visiting something else the town is famous for, and that is the world's largest Christmas store. There's just a photo of the sign down in the lower left-hand corner, but it's incredible. The electrical bill averages about $900 a day at the world's largest Christmas store. If memory serves me right, I don't have it in front of me. They can handle something like 800 vehicles in the parking lot, and it's the length of at least a few football fields, but it is indeed the world's largest Christmas store. So it's a little exhausting to walk through it, but you got to do it. So that's another attraction to Frankenmuth. All right, and last attraction, this one is an optional, everyone. So it might not be something that everyone likes to do. I like it myself, I really do. And this is the Judy Garland Museum. And this is in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, where Judy Garland, who was born as Frances Ethel Gum, was born and raised for a time in her childhood, where she performed along with her two sisters as the Gum sisters, before she changed her name and became the great Judy Garland. I'm not sure when I first became a fan, but it was as an adult, not as a child, when I first grew to absolutely love the movie, The Wizard of Oz. And that was in 1939 when that movie came out. Cindy was saying earlier, she said, didn't those ruby slippers get stolen? And that's true. Those ruby slippers have been stolen. That is true. The carriage in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen is the actual carriage from the 1939 movie Wizard of Oz. You remember that scene in Oz with the horse of a different color pulling that carriage through Oz. That horse was actually colored with Jello crystals. When you start researching the Wizard of Oz, there's a few things that probably wouldn't pass nowadays, but it was another time, including coloring a horse with Jello crystals. But those are the ruby slippers. They have Judy Garland's dress, or one of the dresses at least, from the Wizard of Oz movie. She went on to do Babes in Arms and become one of the most famous singers of all time. Not necessarily always a happy or glamorous story, hers wasn't, but she was an amazing talent and quite a legend. And so for anyone who wishes to, you will have the option of seeing the home where she was raised as a child and the museum in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. So those are just some of the attractions, everyone. So thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here with you this evening. And thank you for letting me share a little bit about our Amish Country tour. So I will turn things back over to Leanne at this time.
Perfect. Thank you, Coral. Sounds like a really great tour. And I just want to thank everyone else for spending the evening with us. We hope you found the presentation informative and hope that you can join us next year. We will follow up with an email in a couple of days with the link to this itinerary. And you can also visit our website in the meantime, westworldtours.com, for more information on this tour or any of our others. And you can contact us by visiting our website at westworldtours.com, emailing information@westworldtours.com, visiting us on Facebook, or by contacting your local travel agent. And now we will get into some of your questions. And I'll just pull those up here. Okay, so Brenda asks, do you do private ancestry tours? So no, we don't. I know on some of the tours when we go over to Europe and things like that, our local guides will try to kind of put you in touch with or get you to the area where your ancestors are from, but we don't do anything specifically. That would become something that you would want to do a little bit of research on your own prior to going on the trip. Faye asks, can I just say that the Wisconsin River tour is gorgeous. It's worth going on this tour. Oh, thank you. It looks beautiful. I have never been, but it does look beautiful. Okay. So Myrna asks, what is the weather like and what should you wear?
It's actually not that bad in May. Yeah, last I was there, I was actually in, capri pants and sandals much of the time. It is May though, so I feel like a bit of a broken record when I say always take a rain jacket, but again, always take a rain jacket. But yeah, a couple of sweaters you might need to layer up at times, especially in the water. Sometimes when we're on the Wisconsin River, in the Dells rather, or in the Cass River in Frankenmuth, it can be a bit cool. So a couple sweaters, cardigans, a good rain repellent jacket, but overall pretty nice. Yeah, I'd probably be wearing a lot of sandals and some shorts maybe even at that time.
Perfect. Well, that's great. Okay, Belinda. She says, very good presentation. Looking forward to seeing more and joining your tours. So that is great. And Belinda is actually joining us on the Churchill tour coming up next year. So that is great. We're happy that you found us, Belinda. Okay. And it looks like that's all the questions. Let me have a quick look and see if I can see any on Facebook. Doesn't look like it. So if there are no other questions, again, I would just like to thank everyone for joining us this evening, and thank you, Koral, for walking us through this tour. As we can hear from you, it sounds like it's a really great tour, and we have updated it a little bit since our 2019 tour, so it sounds really great. Carol asks quickly here, how much is this tour? So Carol, you can have a look on our website, or you can email us and we can send you all the details on the tour, but it is listed on our website at westworldtours.com.